Today we're fixing writer's block once and for all. You're gonna know exactly what to post every single freaking day if you want to, because you deserve to share your thoughts. This will never do. I'm just a girl. I'm just a normal, average girl with a messy office. Who are you to judge? And I actually have we're not going to talk about it. Okay, now that the shirt has changed, the makeup's on, the hair is done, all of those things, let's dive into the video. And my client Voxered me the other day. She was like, I want to commit to a certain upload schedule for YouTube, or let's say a schedule for Instagram or a schedule for TikTok, but she's afraid that if she commits, she's going to have days where she doesn't have good ideas and she's going to have writer's block and not be sure what to post, which is fair and valid. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to be like, I need to have a good idea every single day, so good that it goes viral. For which I will say, let's just challenge that notion and start to believe that every idea you have is a good idea, but I'll get into that. The first thing that I think happens when people get writer's block is they're disconnected from the people they want to connect with. So for example, I'm a business owner and I sell life coaching and business consulting to business owners and content creators and people of the sort. And so if I'm ever at a point where I'm like, I have no idea what to say today, that's a sign to me that I don't know what's going on with my ideal client or my ideal customer or my ideal viewer. And so the easiest thing for me to do is start to reconnect with those people, whether that's messaging people in the comments or getting in my DMs and talking to followers, or doing market research calls where I reach out to people and learn about their problems, learn what stuff they're looking up on Google, all of those kinds of things. I have a program called 9 to Freedom where we dive all into market research, and it's super helpful if you're a new business owner. And so that can help you get reconnected. And what often happens is you'll figure out the biggest thing that they're struggling with. You'll have an idea for content. You'll hear them talk about their problem and you'll be like, oh, that's not actually your problem, or this is the advice I would give. And all of a sudden you have lots and lots of content ideas. I think that's the easiest place to start. The next thing is actually going to require you to take like a mindset shift. And so I think a lot of times what happens is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to get things perfect and have the best ideas, when in reality we just need to share the ideas that we have and eventually they'll land and connect with people. And I want you to think of like all the people on the internet who just say random things, don't really have a strategy, and their accounts go viral, they blow up, and like, what did they really do? That's the level of confidence we want to embrace. Every idea you have is a good idea. And so I was telling my client, like, on those days where you don't know what to post about or you're not really sure what to say, this is the framework I use. So for example, I had a day, and I made a video about this, where I didn't want to work. I had to record a YouTube video because like my client, she's like, I want to commit to the schedule of uploading content. I want to commit to Monday, Wednesday, Friday of uploading to YouTube. And it was a Friday and I was like, I have nothing to say. I don't know what to post. I don't want to post anything. And you can go check out that video if you want to see like what to do on those days when you don't feel like working. But I was like, okay, I need to post something. So if I could talk about anything right now, what would I want to talk about? And that's the easiest place to start. Just ask yourself that one question. If you could talk about anything right now, what would you want to talk about with a friend, with a partner, with a random stranger on the street? And in that moment for me specifically, I wanted to talk about how I didn't feel like working. And I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how I don't feel like working right now. I don't have any good ideas. And it's as simple as that. And I think it's just letting that be good enough. And that's a really, really great place to start. And you can just kind of explore that and share those random thoughts that you're having. The other thing you can do if you're getting writer's block and you're not sure what to post is start doing things that spark creativity. And so sometimes that means stepping away from the activity you're doing, stepping away from creating content, writing content, doing something inside of your business. For me, maybe I'll go on a walk. Maybe I'll watch TikToks. Maybe I'll go on YouTube. I'll watch some form of something or do an activity like walking that has nothing to do with my business or the topics that I post about, because that's going to spark ideas in my mind. You know, one time I was watching Funny Girl and she talks about how life is supposed to be hard and her dreams came to her so easy in the movie. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's literally just like running a business. Boom, that's a content idea. I'm going on a walk and I'm looking at things, and as I'm clearing my mind and detoxing from the screens I've been staring at all day, all of a sudden good ideas are flowing to my head. So I like to have like a Rolodex of different ideas of like what I can do when I'm feeling uncreative that do spark that creativity for me. That's a super awesome thing to have on the back burner. Now, sometimes when you're creating content, writer's block comes in a different way. Those were examples of like you have no idea what to say, you're not sure what to do. You can use those 3 strategies, but sometimes you're gonna know what you want to talk about, but you're not gonna be sure how to say it. So for example, the other day I wanted to talk about how A lot of times people, business owners, hire team members and they think these team members are gonna solve all their problems. They're gonna get a VA and everything's gonna be perfect and fine and dandy. And then what ends up happening is they didn't have the right business strategies, they didn't have the right mindset, and they were trying to put a band-aid on a bigger problem, and they didn't end up having success with that team member. And I wanted to talk about it, and I was typing it out because I was gonna do it as like an Instagram post in an email, and I was like, I have no idea what to write right now. And this happens for my clients too. I had a client who was like, oh, it takes me 3 hours to write emails. And I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible. We do not want to stare at a screen for 3 hours. That is a horrible kind of writer's block. And so what you can do instead in those instances when you have a topic is try to use a different medium for your own voice. So for example, I told that client who was like, oh, it takes me 3 hours to do emails. She started doing voice notes and voicing what she wanted to write in that email. And a lot of times that helps me too. Like I can stare at a Google Doc for 15 minutes. And if I'm like, Ashley, you are going to say what you want to say in 60 seconds or less, I will figure out what I'm going to say in like under 5 minutes, you know, because I'll do a couple of shoots of it until I figure out what I'm trying to say. So that can be super helpful. With the example I mentioned, I tried to do like a voice to text kind of thing. I tried to do a voice memo and like none of it was really leading to anything. I tried recording myself and it still wasn't working. I couldn't figure out what I was trying to say, and I was like, I'm gonna do a skit. I'm gonna do a skit where I'm gonna act out like what I want to say to business owners and what they say back to me whenever I tell them about their stuff. And so that ended up being the thing that sparked ended my writer's block. And so there's all different kinds of things that you can do. I think we just have to get out of the box that we put ourselves in, and the box is really small and really tight, and we're like, I have to write it, or I have to film it, or, you know, and there's just so many different things that you can do. Maybe you get stuck when you're filming things and things don't like roll off at the top of your head because you're not used to filming or whatever. Use writing, switch to writing, write down what you want to say, go in with an outline. I mean, when you're recording TikToks, it's really great because you can do one clip of one sentence, another clip of another sentence, and have it all pre-prepared. If you do find yourself with writer's block a lot though, or just really struggling to create content in general, I do have a program I created earlier this year called Content Closer, and it's literally all about how to write 30 days worth of content in advance that guides your buyers through a decision-making process. Whether you're selling something through affiliate links or brand deals, or a business owner who wants somebody to buy your products, you can use the customer's decision-making process in your content to help them decide if they want to buy your stuff or that they should buy your stuff. And so the other thing that you can do is if you take that course and you go through that process, you'll have a bank of ideas for content and headlines that you can use on those days when you have writer's block, and know that those are already things that are going to connect to your audience. So check that out in the link in the description below. I'll just say like writer's block is totally normal. You don't expect yourself to be like a content machine. You're not a content machine, you're a cute little human. And I know I mentioned at the beginning of the video, like, let all ideas be good ideas, and I truly, truly mean that. If you let every silly little idea that crosses your mind to be a good idea, you will have endless amounts of content to work with. Like, for example, the other day, like, I was working in my office and I heard my Australian Shepherd Max, we love him, but he's crazy, just running around in my living room and thumping around and knocking things down. And I was like, I need to get on client calls. And so I literally opened the door, I'm like, relax. And when I see him, he's standing on top of my coffee table. And I just roll my eyes and close the door because that's how he is until he gets to go to the dog park. And that's fine. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's a silly moment that happened. Let me record that. And it was just a funny thing that happened. But if we let every thought be a good thought, we can get a lot of success. And that video got a lot of views, more than the average views I get on my videos, which is really interesting because I talk about business content, but people really like my dog. Isn't that the way it goes? I hope you enjoyed this video. My dog is crying because it's time for him to actually go to the dog park right now. I hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend, and I will see you guys next week for another video.